Hello, everybody. I wanted to tell a joke. I still tell it, although you already heard the introduction. I'm the CEO of one of the companies behind me with the logo. And you can guess which is my company and which is not. On my next slide, I present you the other CEO, who is Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. I'm the CEO of Talkabot, which is an enterprise chatbot provider company. In this speech, I will combine two slideshows. One of them is regarding Microsoft's co-sell program, which we are a member of. They've been investing heavily into the so-called co-sell ecosystem. Microsoft has always been partner-led, but this is kind of a new angle, how Microsoft is promoting local innovations and how they help them to get traction on the market. The normal way of operation you can see in the bottom of the slide. It is the partner-led business. You become a Microsoft partner, and then you sell their solutions. Easy, right? In the co-sell program, it's kind of the other way around. They are looking for companies who have market-ready solutions, and Microsoft is actually actively pushing their sales activities on the market with Microsoft account managers, free of charge. It's quite amazing. And you can go from the co-sell partner activity to even higher levels. You see on the right side the co-sell partnership, and then you can get closer and closer into the Microsoft ecosystem and eventually just be bought in the Microsoft marketplace globally. So even for us, it is very attractive that we can start locally. Then right now we are expanding in the region, and eventually we can become a global partner of Microsoft as well, and they help us along the way. We are one of the most successful partners in Central European region. We have been working together only for 4 months, and we already signed 2 banking sector clients, and we are actively monitoring 30 more leads, which is quite a good number, even if you look at the addressable market value. And for us, the biggest added value is that we get a validation by Microsoft logo, of course, and also that we can leverage some of their technologies and just focus on our core business. So I think this is a really good way. If we go further into what Talkabot is doing, we are an enterprise chatbot provider. Our motto is that creativity is our privilege, let the robots do the rest. So in essence, we want to use conversations and turn them into applications and use the context as a tool for monetization and leverage the possibility of AI, natural language processing, and automation. It was already told that chat platforms are very popular nowadays. 2.5 billion people chat every day, and the top 4 applications in the major app stores are regarding communication and more concretely, chat. At the same time, the number of application downloads globally are shrinking by 20%. And the shrink is growing. I mean, less and less apps are downloaded. People are frustrated about downloading applications, but it doesn't mean that the smartphones that we use are losing ground. Only that applications are consolidating under platforms that you can see on the screen, or the Google Home, or Alexa, which you heard in the previous discussions. So the chatbot opportunity is that 2.5 billion people chat every day, and predictions say that 85% of the companies will want to have some type of a chatbot within the next 2 years. We are addressing the corporate clients like banks, insurance companies, government bodies, postal services, train companies, most of the B2C sectors that you will see. And it's a huge market. It's becoming $1.25 billion by 2025. So it's a nice place to be for a startup company. But there are many critics regarding chatbots, that they are just using chat, no voice. Well, if you think about it and take out your phone, open Messenger, for instance, Android and also iOS is giving you the voice to text and text to speech engines. So we don't have to bother with voice recognition, to be honest, because that is provided by Google and Apple for us. We just have to automate the text-based discussions and then get back with relevant answers and business applications. The other is that it's primitive. Well, my take on that is that if you want to have a nice discussion, share your thoughts, just get a dog, or get a girlfriend, or speak with your partner, and maybe not with a robot. If you want to speak with a robot, which is representing a company, what's the point in that? There's no business value. We want to focus on the business values, as I mentioned. We look at chatbots as alternatives to mobile applications. So companies who are considering to build an application, they should really switch to a chatbot in reality. There's no business value. When Facebook Messenger announced that they are opening up their platform for chatbots, many people started to have horoscope chatbots, weather chatbots, daily whatever tips chatbots. So there are 300,000 chatbots out there, and most of them are really useless. Really, really useless. So I think that is a time for consolidation and for companies to move into the platform. With all the scandals around the major platforms, they are actually getting more mature and getting ready to host real business applications. Single purpose. I think that is, in essence, a quite good thing, that if you understand what is the single purpose, it should really use efficiently that single purpose. And there's no soul. Well, that's true. We heard in the previous presentation that it's nice to speak with a person, like Alexa, if Alexa can be considered as a person. But if you ask people whether they want to speak with a robot or a human, they obviously choose the human part. On the other hand, if you ask the same person whether you would like to call a customer service, wait for 20 minutes, and then speak with a frustrated agent, or get an instant response by a chatbot, everybody votes on the chatbot. So the question is really, what is the business value? What is the point of the solution? If there is a real business value, then people really use this. For some of you who don't know what is this technology, chatbots live on platforms like Viber or Messenger or WhatsApp in the future, or other similar social chat platforms, and they are pre-programmed leveraging natural language processing and artificial intelligence to conduct some automated way of communication. Even in simpler terms, you take out your phone, open Facebook Messenger, and find, let's say, Skyscanner, and you can find flight promotions and whatever schedules you're interested in without opening up their web page. Many people are interested in such technologies and are using this new way of applications. We also created a chatbot specifically for this event. We have our own booth on the Hungarian stand, and we created CEBIT, which is half human, half robot, as you can see from this picture. We even have some hostess girls dressed up just like this. And you can ask this chatbot, if you want to test it now, about the information relevant for that specific stand. So I encourage you to test it, and if you're interested how you can program it, how you can evolve the knowledge base of this chatbot, just find me. I'll be around this place after the presentation. And the advantages of chatbots are not coming from talk about my company, but are really platform advantages. That if you have people downloading apps, if they do, they oftentimes don't use it. They just need it for a few minutes in most of the cases, and then they just abandon the chatbot. Messenger, Viber, WhatsApp stays on your phone. It works on any device flawlessly, and you don't have to develop a new user experience or user interface. We read the research, and 60 to 70% of all application development projects are regarding UX and UI development and cross-platform, cross-device compatibility. If you think about it, it's a bit insane. You want to launch a business application, and you just spend 60 or 70% of the cost just to make it work on any device. On the other hand, when you leverage the social chat platforms, you don't have to worry about all of that. You just focus on the business purpose, the real business value of the solution. That is a great opportunity. And we heard that voice over chat, well, it's a debate. Right now, about 50% of people actually prefer chat over phone calls. The research says that. And if you go to the younger generations, they actually don't want to speak with anybody. They feel afraid to speak with a live person. They feel more comfortable using chat. I heard a really nice story of one of my friends. He's 30, and he tries to date with 25-year-old girls. And they were chatting on one of these platforms. And then since he got the phone number of the girl, he just called up the girl, hey, how are you? And start to make a nice discussion. And the 25-year-old girl said that, wow, this is so interesting that you called me. I dated many guys, but nobody ever called me. It's so retro, you are so cute. Wow, okay, that's a bit strange, but this is the world where we live in. Most of the people in the younger generations actually prefer chat, and we used to say in Hungary, since we have many fellow citizens moving to Germany or England, that a grandma needs 2 minutes to learn how to use Skype, and that the grandson moves to London. Everybody can chat, everybody can use these platforms, so it is really, really intuitive. This is also very interesting. If you compare chat with other communication platforms, they have really good conversion rates, chat platforms. And we have to be careful not to spoil this platform, because emails were good maybe 10, 15 years ago, but nowadays we just don't read emails. We are just not interested. We want shorter way of communication and notifications. That's how people operate on the smartphones. Emails are just too long to read and too much spammed. So that's why chatbots are right now an opportunity. Maybe in 10 or 15 years, they will be old school as well, and some new forms of communication will come in. But right now, if you want to achieve leads, conversions, then chat is a great platform to do that. And it's not the platforms that I mentioned before who innovated this, but it is, in a sense, China. Mark Zuckerberg and all these guys are copying China, and more concretely WeChat. If you see the numbers, they are amazing. So out of 900 million users, about 800 million people chat with businesses on these platforms. Any business that exists has to have a website and a WeChat account with a chatbot, because there are 300 million credit cards stored in the WeChat Pay ecosystem. Another story I heard from a diplomat is that he bought oranges in the street of Beijing from an old lady who sold the oranges on a carpet on the street, and he paid with WeChat Pay using a QR code. No cash. So actually not the new way to connect, but it's the new way to do business, in my opinion, obviously. So what customers want, there's also very good research on this. They want quick emergency answers. They want a fast forward to the appropriate human. They don't want to tell their story many, many times, like on the voice when you get connected to different layers of people. And they want to buy basic items and instant complaint resolution. If you have any of these problems, then a chatbot may be a good solution for you, because we can really easily automate it. But some of the other use cases that you see on the slide are also very, very relevant. We build sector-specific solutions, leveraging the same technology. We have 25 clients at the moment, from banking, insurance, telecommunications, even utilities. I don't want to read the slide. You see that it is practically any B2C vertical. People can leverage automation, obviously. And the key benefits: lead generation, e-commerce re-engagement. Just think about it. Right now, if you want to purchase something on a web shop, you either go to the web page, or maybe some of them have an app, the bigger ones. They can re-engage you. But on the websites, if you look for something on booking.com, for example, and if you abandon the page, or even if you book it for weeks, you are looking at the same location. Maybe you already traveled and came back, but for weeks you see the same messages in your browser. It's really frustrating. With the chatbot, it's one-to-one communication, and we can have targeted, mass-personalized re-engagement messages. It's a direct contact. If you look at your phone, you speak with your wife, your boyfriend, your colleagues, plus a company on the very same platform. So it's more intuitive, and you can gain insights. It's one of my surprising stories from a banking client who is doing car leasing, car loans, practically. And we asked them what are the top recurring questions that come to them. they had no clue whatsoever what are the top 10 questions and how their customers raise these questions. They sent us a list of the top recurring questions, and they were like, which law is governing the VAT rebate for car loans? And then they gave the chatbot, we trained the chatbot for like 100 over use cases, and then they gave it to the lawyer, and they typed, I want credit for my car. And the chatbot couldn't respond because they have not trained it for this very simple question. So it is a great way. Obviously, we trained it in like 2 minutes or 1 minute, but it is a great way to really understand your customers and how they want to approach you as a company. The last one is my personal favorite. It comes from a CEO of a bank. It's kind of a quote. A chatbot is a great tool to handle laziness and stupidity. Indeed, if you look at any customer service, at least 80% of all the incoming questions concern like 5 or 10 recurring questions. And they still call up the customer service, they still wait the time, and then they ask a question like, what's your opening hour from a web shop? Well, it's on our web page, it's on our Twitter, it's on everywhere, but they still just want to have this answer relevant straight to them. What is the technology behind? We actually developed a platform ourselves to support all these different verticals. I think one of the really key elements is the open source and native natural language processing. We are not leveraging any of the internet giants like Amazon or IBM or Microsoft or Google to understand what the clients ask, because there are really good open source language models developed by your respective native linguistic professors. And our knowledge is how to integrate these normally Python codes into our system and see what the native language user wanted to say to us. The other, since we started in 2016, we developed the whole system with GDPR and privacy by design with our hands. So I think this is a key advantage of chatbots over Amazon or Google. If somebody goes under the Amazon Alexa system, then Amazon is practically controlling that company. Many banks just don't want to have full control under Amazon Alexa or Google Home. Actually, the whole financial sector is really afraid that these internet giants want to come in and take over the financial industry, as they took over most of the telecommunications sector's margin. So the banks and many other companies will want to have a level of independence, a level of control. They want to keep it. So they want to have the same type of automated customer service, for example, under their own mobile applications or under the mentioned chat platforms. What is another major thing, and the context of our discussion? Most of the chatbots, if you test them, you answer a question, it responds, but then if you ask another one, it doesn't know what you asked before, and that's a quite bad user experience, in my opinion. We developed it as a context-aware discussion, so once you asked a question regarding a certain topic, you can dig deeper and ask within the same subject more and more questions. This creates a much better user experience. The team behind my company has 3 other co-founders, and right now we have 23 full-time employees in the company. About half of them are full-time developers, and so far we bootstrapped, so we achieved all this under 2 years, only from customer revenues and without financial investment. And I think this is a quite good result. Regarding our attraction, we have clients from all different sectors. I mentioned the banks, insurance companies. Also, Viber is one of our clients, but the national utility provider, the local alternative to Booking.com, news companies, music festivals, shopping centers, retailers, e-commerce companies. So it's a big variety. We are also a member of Viber's Preferred Enabling Partner Program and the Google Launchpad. And we now have even reseller partners to help us grow internationally, because there's a huge demand for such automated conversational user experience. I'd like to highlight some of our achievements. Like I mentioned, the Viber preferred enabling partnership, we are also working very closely with Nestlé on a global level. They want to, we are currently launching a pilot with Nestlé, and after that, we would be their global partner for chatbots. We are a co-sell partner for Microsoft, as mentioned, and within Central Europe, Mass Challenge, the American accelerator, considers us among the 10 best ones. 2 weeks ago, I was in Portugal for Get in the Ring, which is a global startup competition. They had 100 over events as a selection, and this was the final with companies from 70 countries and 150 startups. We became the #2 globally in the so-called heavyweight category. And what I cannot announce publicly, but I'm happy to tell you in person after the presentation, is the top secret thing. We just closed our first round of investment with 2 million euros. This is for a first round investment record in Hungary to date. And we just got accepted by a global accelerator program for which I will move to Singapore in 2 weeks' time with my family. And then this will really, really help us to grow our business internationally. So far, we are just 20 months old, and our chatbots have talked with 2.3 million people. So besides the technology, we are gaining a lot of know-how and marketing tactics, strategies on chatbots specifically, thanks to all this data that we have in our database. As I started my presentation, creativity is our privilege. Let the robots do the rest. It's not an easy way to launch a chatbot. It becomes a brand new way of communication for you. You have to constantly work on it, like on a web page or like any other communication channel. You don't just click it together, launch it, and bam, it solves all your problem. It's maybe a bad news for most of you, but if you want to have such a solution, it will be a constant work to update it and keep it fresh, keep it interesting. As Steve Jobs used to say, there's one more thing. So besides all the different chat platforms, there is a new technology coming up. It's called RCS, Rich Communication Service. It is the last resort of telco companies to retrieve their lost revenues from SMS. They figured out, thanks to Google's core technology, that well, SMS is not so interesting anymore because it doesn't really have a graphical user interface. So right now, all of your Android phones are already RCS compatible. In the normal message application where you receive your SMS messages, it is possible by all these telcos that you see to access 3.5, so not 2.5, but 3.5 billion people. And let's say for an airline company, which I used at the beginning as an example, send the check-in information, the QR codes for boarding the flight on this. Or right now they are using pilots to vote for TV shows. 10 years ago, everybody used SMS to vote. Right now they try to launch applications. They have 1/10 of people actually voting because nobody cares to download the application for voting for a show. I don't want to judge it, but a normal show. By using the RCS technology, you can actually have the pictures of the different stars of the TV show or the celebrities, and a much richer communication context, like we use on all the popular chat platforms. So I think this is a great thing. This will bring up the business of chatbots and communication in a very simple and intuitive way in the coming years. Thank you for your attention. I'm open for questions.
Ákos, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. We have a few minutes for questions, if you have any. We have a mic coming around. Just raise your hands if you have a question. And if not, I have a very personal question. Listening to your talk, I remember, so every day I'm communicating with my business partner on WhatsApp. Okay, we built a business that's almost 85% of the strategic communication goes to WhatsApp, right? No Google Drive, no none of that, right? We communicate via voice to convey our opinions, which is much better than text. But sometimes you need those, pieces of text to make quick decisions or to have it in type, right? Will chatbots help us do both at the same time so we can work more efficiently?
I think so. So voice is very important, obviously. From our own perspective, we are following a lean startup methodology. So we wanted to invest zero and go to market instantly. Actually, we sold our very first chatbot without having a single line of code of what we do 2 years ago. Because this is a technology that can be quite easily adapted on a basic level, but if you want to achieve really good results, you need a much more complex technology. As I mentioned, if you take out your WhatsApp, your operating system has dictation function. So you can actually dictate to our chatbot, use your voice, and send us your message via voice, and then we can understand it. Mm-hmm. I think the assistants, Alexa and Google Home, are doing a great job with same things, but as I mentioned, the control of the underlying companies are basically lost because they surrender all the data to Amazon and Google, and it's a big risk on the long term.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So, as long as we have no more questions from the audience, I'd like to thank you so much for coming, inspiring us.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.